Hello and good evening. Welcome to the Goosebumps HorrorTown review for Welcome to Camp Nightmare. This is the third review style that I've done something like this before, whereas now I'm going to improve from my second one, which I believe was the That's No Easter Bunny event. Now I think I know how I'm going to set this stuff up moving forward when it comes to these reviews, so allow me to kind of go ahead and try to give you a introduction, as it were. And I've also added a new category to this review, which is minor things. So we have the good aspects, the bad aspects, but then we also have the minor, not that bad, or it's bad for some but not for others, you know, the middle ground kind of deal, the little, like, life's problems, whatever you like to call them there. So let's go ahead and let's just talk about what this event is all about. Let's talk about the story. Walter wanted to make his own summer camp, and with the help of Sabre, he created Camp Nightmoon. Meanwhile, a local monster named Sabre tries to scare anyone that comes closer to his forbidden bunker, causing Walter to set traps for him. However, with Sabre's help and a mask he dons on him, he tries to blend in to see how it's like to be camping with the humans. So what's the deal with Welcome to Camp Nightmare as an event? Is this going to be a paradise for Walter and his Camp Nightmoon being the best campsite that you can ever foresee? Or is it going to be a camp nightmare with all Sabre's creatures and whatnot? Let's find out, shall we? Let's start off with our first foot forward and look at the good aspects of this review. One of the only new characters that came throughout this event was Sabre, which is the monster in the story Welcome to Camp Nightmare. And I really do enjoy how they've handled this character and built up his story, as well as kind of giving the aspect of a monster that is not well known, and giving him that shy personality kind of helps with that whole idea. But I think what I really like about him is his animations, his story, but mostly because of the fact that he is priced about $280, which is a lot less compared to what normally we've seen characters go by. Not only that, but he's a big help when it comes to being able to drop some scenes, and I feel like everything about him I did like. There's nothing really about him that I didn't enjoy, so there's that. Like always, when it comes to some of their items for the prizes, as it were, this one is no different. The Nightmare Tent, I feel like, is a really awesome prize to go for this event. What better way to celebrate an event based off of a book by having one of the more iconic things from that book be that item to get? That being the Nightmare Tent in this case, which looked really creepy. And it also feels very cool. Like, it really did fit with the overall theme, in my opinion. The offers they gave out for the bundles were not that bad, to say the least. The first one that came out was one with Sabre, and that wasn't too bad of a price. The statue that came along with it is pretty decently cool. A unique item that they added for the bundle for him there. And they added another bundle for Walter, which, if you didn't get Sabre, you can actually have him with there. And the price they offered for that bundle with Walter and Sabre included, I feel like was handled a lot more better compared to the last event we had, which was dubbed the Break the Event bundle. Seeing a character like Walter that was an exclusive character for the Halloween update of last year come back to be actually part of this event, it was really nice to see them actually being able to use characters from previous events coming back in this event. So hopefully we get to see more of this moving forward. The camping items they've added to the game were really nice for the addition of the town. It gives that new nice campy feel, with the camping items going from being creepy to being normal and more suburban. It gives you that nice little area of confinement if you ever want to make a little area of either a camping ground or just a nice little forest area, or you can even add it to the previous added item places like the swamps. So those were some good aspects that I found during this event, but let's go ahead and talk about the one that most people tend to look forward to, and what most people tend to find negative, the bad. During my first episode, the fact that Walter came back at $700 is way too much for the character like him, and the item he drops. And what sucks about him was that he previously was only available for like $400, so I don't know why the $300 up price. This makes this guy the most expensive, useless character that comes close, if not worse, than Mr. Fleshman, who was previously only valued at $500, so he's $200 worth more than Fleshman ever was. Despite me liking the story of this event, I feel like the way they ended it was very abrupt. It went from going to, let's go find the monsters, and it ends with, oh, just kidding, that's boring. Like what just happened there? We were, like, there's no satisfying conclusion. It just kind of was going to somewhere, and then immediately, as soon as it gets to somewhere, it just ends like that. It felt rushed, is the best way to describe that. As I stated in my last video in part 5, the new unique waterfall item for the second week request was interesting and nice for a decoration. But the problem with that being there is that now there's no way to get the peanut van for free, quote unquote. So it leads to players, in order to get 100%, requires them to buy a $200 thing. I really does not like this kind of stuff. I always enjoyed having players having the option to be able to get items for free, and option-wise, if they want to complete it and help them with the event currency. So if they're ever going to do this whole get a unique item kind of deal for a bundle thing, to have it either featured sometime during, not before the weekend, but have some ways to be able to kind of get premium items for free. I feel like people will be more satisfactory with that if they choose to go for it. This is a minor point that I'm going to bring up, but the fact that the two new characters, well, one of them being new character and the other one being not so new, requires cash again. It's kind of sucky that we've now gone back to just no characters that you can buy with the acorns, and even a scare. We don't even have like a scare scene available for acorns this time around, so it kind of gives off this whole, oh, we're going back to this model, which not really the best in value. Now normally with that would be the it of this video. However, there is something new I want to try out, and these are just minor nitpicks that I have with the game, whether that be from people I've talked to within the community or myself included. So I'm going to now list off a few things that were a little bit grudgingly annoying, but isn't an end of the world problem. The Mimic Pine Cones are a bit too small to find, and doesn't drop items, just coins and maybe cash. However, their design is really nice, and hunting for them is a fun experience. The bundles didn't have much cooler, unique items, not much on scare decorations either. We get to see some recycled animation for previous action. Some task even drops poorly in acorns. Conrad's wood carrying task isn't a good example of that. And even some didn't even make sense with some of the quest lines. For example, the satyr dancing, only him thinking instead in front of the tent. 50k acorns for a scout statue was a challenge to get and isn't really cool for a prize that's costing that much for a grind. When the event first started, the campfire animation was really nice to see and it was really cool, but for some reason afterwards it just stopped playing and it's no longer playing altogether, so it kind of sucks to see this is the case. We didn't have much of an animation for Sabre that has his mask off, so we don't get to see that face of his that is shown after spawning him from his Forbidden Bunker scene. But again, it could be added during the takedown, so this is a little bit of a maybe it can happen in the future. The Forbidden Bunker scene could have been more camp themed instead of reskinning Sabre clones. What I mean by this is that they could have added like wolves or something along the lines of like creatures that are like animal based, like even weird like having squirrels or something like that. Like it's a little bit silly like that, and this adding certain things could have actually made it a little bit more fun to see. So that's all the points of review for this event that I've came across for. And at the end of the day, the results look something like this for the card. And as you can see, it's almost like this whole event is like half and half. Like for some that are good, others kind of contradict that. And some minor points just seem to kind of drag it down a little bit. So the question remains is, where exactly does this event land compared to the other 7 or 6 events that have passed previously? Well, here is the result. As you can see from the Brighton point, it's basically 4th place out of 7, so it's right dead in the middle. And this makes sense. So here's my final point with this event. The addition of Sabre, easy items crafting, and the summertime story was really nice to have during the summertime off. However, with so much problems listed this compared to the other 2 events this year, it's not that great. Major flaws with Walter's price, abrupt endings for the story, and minor problems compared to the other 2 events we've had. I can't put it at the best. It is, however, a real fun small week event that is better than last year's stuff. So for now, I will put this as 4th place below April's event and above the Christmas one. And I think this is a fitting end. I feel like this event did actually feel like it was stuck in the middle. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was alright. Or meh. Well, I'm not meh like bad. I mean, it's basically just it alright. So, events like these, I feel like if you're going to do a smaller event, having it kind of based off something like this, I feel like it's a nice little ability to kind of go forward. I know it's not going to be every time we get like something grand and big, but it's also nice to have little events every now and then to kind of keep us on our toes. But we'll see what ends up happening next time. So what did you think on this event? Do you agree with my statements, or do you feel like I'm wrong? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear it. Anyways, that will be it for this review. I will see you next time in whatever Goosebumps HorrorTown has us thrown at us in the future. Until then, I've been Grimokan, and I will be seeing you next time. Until then, have a good one.